Kelly, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes. Okay. Had to do an audio check. Thank you.
Yep.
Good show.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 6 P.M. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Statement of public notice, the agenda was posted on the internet, at the town hall and Holton School and at the Burkhardt gas station. Roll call, everybody's here except Dan Gavin. I don't know, he's still doctoring with his foot, so I don't know if he's on or not, but I guess not. So I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda as posted.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Approval of prior minutes of 1/3/23.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of January 3rd, 2023.
Stop. I don't want to get it seconded yet. I found a mistake today. Now, where's my notes? On the top, I'm just noting this for public record. On the top of the minutes, it says Tuesday, January 3rd. The meeting was actually on Thursday, January 5th. That will be corrected.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
I'd like to,
As a second as corrected.
I'd like to make a motion to move the seal coating to the front of the line so we can get our information guy to his meeting at 7 o'clock.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So ladies and gentlemen, this is Pat, the Public Works Director for North Hudson. He's going to explain the piece of equipment that I was interested in using for the township. Crack and seal coating on some of the projects in the town.
I'm Patrick Mose. I actually live in Holton, so I reached out to Chris. We rent a spray patch machine for the village. You have to rent it for a month. It tends to be too long, so I was kind of reaching out to a few communities that were close to see if anybody would want to partner up with us and we could split just the rental cost of the unit, say 2 weeks one place and 2 weeks another. We generally in North Hudson, in the past, I've had St. Croix County do the spray patching. And 2 years ago, we rented a machine and I found out that it was actually cut that price in half by us doing it, even though you have to buy the oil and buy the material, the trap rock. It still came out to be a lot less. I also found that when we had the machine, we could work more hours than the county could give us in a day. So I got quite a bit more work done. With that being said, it was pretty efficient, so I don't need it for a whole month. So I'm just reaching out to other communities to see if that's even a possibility that you guys would want to consider something like that, sharing the machine.
Cost of rental per month?
I'm being generous, but it's 7,000.
And so give the folks here an idea of how you felt that service held up with you guys applying it and doing it. What was North Hudson happy with that?
Yes, no, it's great. I like it. I like it for the simple fact that if you want to, you can spray it any time of year and it sticks. It sticks to anything and everything. So there is a little bit of a learning curve with it. So I guess if you guys decided to help us or to go in with us, I would just have you come down to North Hudson, or we could come up here when the machine gets delivered, and then they give you like a 1-day training so that you kind of run it, and the guy who is a expert at running it is there and can answer any questions and stuff like that for you. So, but very happy with it. We've had good results.
Capacity for the material or the trap rock? Do you know what that capacity of the trap rock or the granular
On the machine,
on the machine?
it holds about I want to say 1.5 to 2 yards. And there is I believe it's a 500-gallon oil tank.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
You knew that.
So
Okay. And then price per or gallons per hour on running this thing for diesel, approximate
for diesel,
an 8-hour day.
8-hour day, we were putting in, I want to say it was right around 10 gallons
Pretty
of
efficient.
fuel. So it was, I mean, because you're not really going anywhere. It's got a small pony motor on the back too, which runs a lot more efficient than the.
But you're
regular.
going through 10 gallons of diesel in a full day.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. No, those are good numbers.
And the only. The one thing that is a bit of a drawback, but I didn't find it to be too difficult, was that I would go to Baldwin and get it at St. Croix County shop. It's the most reasonable place to buy the oil. So, because they can't upcharge you on anything or make a profit off of it. So I go over there to get it. We would just run over there. I'd have a guy start early at 5 o'clock, run over there, get oil, and then he'd be back early enough. Then you get a good full day in.
You said your granular is like a trap rock. Is that coming out of dresser?
Yep. And that's the other thing I guess I'd discuss with you guys, if that's a road you wanted to go down. What we do, or what I have been doing in North Hudson, is when we seal coat, I have a box broom, and we'll go and wait for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I sweep up as much as I can with that box broom, and then I haul it down to we have a yard where I keep it and pile it up, and I'd like to make a screen so that I could screen the fines out of that, and then we can reuse that trap rock. So there's another cost savings with that too.
All in all, it's a good end game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the difference in cost between what St. Croix County charges you and what bidding would come in at through Stantec with an independent contracting company? We don't use St. Croix County, correct?
Correct.
You said you use St. Croix County, right?
Yeah, we have.
And so I don't know what they bill. So what's the difference between that?
I think what you're doing here is what you're
That,
taking it and splitting it up. So the seal coating is gonna be an independent seal coating only, I believe, in the future. And what St. Joe Township is gonna do is probably repair all of their own cracks. And then the seal coating would be an independent schedule.
correct. So I wanted to introduce this possible cost savings to the township tonight. Any questions you have, we'll answer them. So Stantec will have to get probably our 21 numbers for crack sealing costs. I'm going to say that they're gonna probably be even higher than the county, so
Okay,
that's just me speaking here tonight.
yeah,
So then I'm using just knowledge of what he's shared of half of that.
okay,
That's where I'm hanging my hat on that nail, is the cost savings just for crack sealing. And seal coating is the width of the road. Different program.
The
oh,
crack,
got you. Okay, yeah, okay, I understand.
the
all right.
crack repair can be done and be left alone for a year or two or whatever, but it's gonna save on on the freeze thaw stuff that goes down in these cracks and works the roads. You could be well ahead in St. Joe Township, running this independent machine and taking care of the cracks where they might be.
And this is just Chris speaking here. What I'm picturing is maybe we ain't gonna get it settled out here tonight. Maybe we'll get it settled out next month. What I was picturing was. He brought up timing. Okay, I'll agree with timing that. If we put this machine on our roads, is it gonna be able to get ahead of the seal coating and work in unison with the seal coating company?
Yeah.
We recognize, okay, it may not. Let's go to next year's crack sealing. And we get ahead of it with this machine this year. And then now we aren't stressed. My operator isn't stressed. There's two options that I see. Okay.
Yeah, I stand corrected. I didn't mean seal coating. I meant crack sealing, the difference in cost between.
And that's fine. I just wanted to
Right,
explain to everybody just my thought.
yeah. Yes, Lee.
So just to be clear about the last couple of years' projects of Seal Coat, we've had three or four different types of applications that we've done on our roads. So there's the Seal Coat, which is the whole road.
Yeah.
There's the flex patching, like for example, what we did on River Road. I think we did some of that on Valley View last year. I might have the road wrong from last year, but I know we did some flex patching, which is where yeah, Kelly would know.
Dan, you want to take a seat up front? Yeah,
And the flex patching is where you've got that wider bump, in the road, where it's set a little bit, and you can kind of, bridge that bump. And so that's, when you drive over River Road, you saw the difference that made. Then there's spray patching, where we've got some of the, what I would call very shallow potholes where the asphalt's popping out. And then we have cracks. So those are the four different treatments that we've done. So the questions that I have is spray patching and the crack sealing that we do are two different things. And so what I want to understand is exactly how you utilize this and what your experience has been, how, the longevity of the crack. So the crack sealing that we do is called a route and seal. So you take basically it's like a router bit, and you go through all the cracks and you make that crack an even, width, so that when you put that polymerized, rubberized material in there, it's got something to adhere to, and it's got enough of it in there to stay there. So that's route and seal. So the spray patching, my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not dialed into it the way you are.
Sure.
Is you would spray the emulsion on there, it would go into the cracks. However, it would go into, because it's the crack, it's not routed, and then you'd have the aggregate on top.
Mhm.
And so my question about using that for cracks, because we haven't done that here before, is, what is your experience with the longevity of that repair, and how is that held up over a period of, several years?
So since I've been with the village of North Hudson, I have not crack sealed at all. Route and seal. I haven't done that at all. Sure. I don't believe in it. And I use the spray patching. I use the spray patching for all of that.
Sure.
And to me, it holds up better. I think it stays more pliable than the honey pot stuff. I can take you out in the field sometime and show you. I can give you an example.
Be great.
And then you could actually see what I see. And it holds up good. We try to go beforehand, before it's seal coated. That seems to work the best for the spray patching. Even if it's a year before, it still holds up well. And then you were talking about the emulsion and the rock or the aggregate. That machine, so you can spray just the emulsion, you can spray just the rock, and you can spray them both at the same time. So basically, what we do is when there's cracks like that, we'll just go heavy on the emulsion, there's still a little bit of aggregate in there, which neither here nor there. That's not gonna matter. If it goes in the crack, it goes in the crack. But to me, that hasn't been a downfall because I think it all holds up really well.
So do you, it sounds like maybe you kind of make adjustments between, you know, a typical, you know, I'll call it a thin crack versus some of the wider cracks, kind of adjust your mix. as
Yep.
you're Doing that? Okay.
Yep, and that's it's all in the machine itself. There is you can adjust any of that stuff any way you want to.
So what's the yeah, I've been doing this stuff for 30 years. And we started out with Bergman.
Yep.
Back years ago, they used to come in and seal coat the roads. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, you still had reflection cracks.
Yep.
And the reason why Bergman came in with their product at that time, with a guarantee of 3 years, was to do away with reflection cracks.
Mhm.
If we're gonna end up going back and doing reflection cracks every so many years, to me, in my pocketbook or in the town's pocketbook,
Mhm.
it's not efficient. Okay,
Okay.
I'm just voicing my opinion
Mhm.
because I've been doing this for 30 years with the Sound of St. Joseph.
Sure.
Sure.
And I just, so you're saying if you go out there,
So you and me are saying the same thing, really. I would like to try this and see that I fail or that it's successful.
well,
You and me are saying the same thing.
what I'm looking at is taxpayer dollars doing the job efficiently versus non-efficiently. And if you're gonna go out there and you're gonna seal these cracks,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna go back after so many weeks and sweep this material
Mhm.
and pick it up again, which in our system that we've been using, we put down, we're using the rocks as approximately, it was at 24, now we reduced it we're down to somewhere between 24 and 18, depending on the roads. For seal coating and but then we turn around and go sweep it again. So in this process, you go out, you lay the stuff down, you go sweep up the material, and then like 6 or 8 weeks or a month and a half or 2 months later, we have a contractor come in and seal coat our roads.
Mhm.
And then we sweep them again.
Mhm.
That, to me, that's not cost effective. And the other thing is, what is the county charging for that material versus what the contractor that we contract with to do seal coating, crack sealing? What the cost is there. So we have to throw the cost
Sure.
to make it cost efficient for the citizens of the town of St. Joseph has to be done correctly in my book.
Mhm.
So I'm just saying, you can start throwing figures out here, but until we get to the bottom line of this thing,
We're all on.
we
on
need
board.
to get the cost figures and what it's gonna cost if we're gonna buy a material from Dresser
Mhm.
and spray it down and then turn around and sweep it up.
But he's just here for education.
you
No, I'm
don't-
just
you
saying,
don't
I'm
have
just
to
throwing
sweep
this
it up.
stuff out there, so.
Yeah, you don't have to sweep it up and I'd like to, you struck a chord with me there, so I'm gonna make a statement. I live in the town of St. Joseph.
Yeah, I
I
know,
work for the village of North Hudson.
yeah, I know that,
And, well, I just want to say that.
Yeah.
That I don't care what community I'm in, it's all of our tax money. Because we get state funding, we get county funding.
Yeah.
It's all of our, so I treat it as such for there. So I just want to make that clear. I'm not, I look for the most efficient way to do things.
so.
I take that personally
Yes.
when I'm trying to save money.
I understand that. So what you're buying the emulsion or not, the emulsion in the spray patch within the rubberized material.
Yep.
From the county.
Yep.
And so we still have to weigh out what our contractor that would do the crack sealing seal coat would get, pay for that emulsion and that crack sealing material.
So are you thinking that you would get it cheaper from them? Because you can buy it anywhere you want to. I'm not saying you have to buy that from the county.
Yeah.
And we
well,
have, but we have bought rock from Dresser. We did, the first year that we did it, we went up, brought our trucks up there and we bought it from there. I figured it out. It ended up, because we bought a small amount, it ended up costing us a lot more. So it was just cheaper for me to say, call up, you know, the county because they're close and they have a stockpile of it. Hey, I want to buy 40 tons of trap rock from you.
Yeah, so we have to consider in there, and also in there, the cost of trucking from Dresser
Mhm.
for this process versus the other process on a bigger volume basis. So,
Sure.
you know, we have to throw all these figures together and come up with a solution,
Mhm.
not whether it's wrong or not, right? You know, right or wrong.
Yep.
But I just thought I'd throw all this stuff out there and,
Mhm.
you know, give my committee a little bit more information, what I know. Cause I've attended a lot of DOT meetings when I was on the board for 15 years and learned a lot of what, and you're probably, cause I know you used to work for the airport or something.
No, I was actually a asphalt guy for
Were you? Oh,
15 years.
yeah, okay. So,
Any more questions for Pat?
No, I just was bringing it up that when you said you got to sweep again after the seal coating, that's part of the seal coating number. So when you say that we got to sweep it again, we don't. That's a fixed number over there. And I think what Pat is saying is that when he's working the cracks or somebody is working those cracks, that product, there's not a lot of waste there. There's some.
Yep.
And that can blow off.
Yep.
I think it's worth entertaining, and that just happens to be my thought.
And just for clarification, what I sweep up is because we obviously do a smaller volume than you guys do. It's our seal coating. So when they do the whole seal coating, I wait for 2 or 3 weeks and we use our little box broom and I pick that up and we take that back. And then in the fall, it gets, because everything gets swept, it gets swept clean. So basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to save a little bit of money by picking it up ourselves and trying to reuse it. That's all. And you don't have to do that. The numbers still will come in half the cost.
okay, Lori, you had a question?
How many people that take runs the machine and one person can do it all?
Yep.
So is the little machine attached to each rock or, you know?
The machine is a truck.
That's what it's,
Yep.
it's its own.
Yep.
Self-contained.
Yep, it has a,
It's about the size of a Schwann's truck.
yeah, and it's got an arm on the front of it with a joystick in the cab and the operator you just put it wherever you want it out in front of you. Yep.
And is this something, I'm gonna throw this out. This would we hire subcontract out one of the religious people that are already using this, or we're gonna hopefully take one of our own people inside here to train people?
That discussion,
Is that-
that discussion is fluid with the workload of North Hudson or the workload of our town tractor driver. I envisioned if we're doing it in a 2-week period, that I would see where each party was at that time.
Okay, so. And the only difference being then, what I'm kind of looking at is, we do this ourselves, we have to just figure out. You know, we have to rent the vehicle, then we have to rent the person. And fuel supplies, all those other things, but that's no different than if it was being bid out.
Yep.
They have the same expenses, we're just gonna be able to see up front, what, where we're at, there's no adders on.
I feel I feel that the technology is here to try it. I'm sure everybody will be able to tell me I failed at it if I failed at it.
Yeah.
And then I look at let's move forward with this technology. Let's try it. The thing that we're taking out of this is the profit of these big guys. And we're doing it ourselves. If I failed at it, let me know.
But you would still have to pay the wage of the person.
Correct.
And the work comp and that's kind of an unforeseen or whatever, but that's just an employee.
That's what I just.
Yeah.
No, I'm just correct.
Repeat what I said.
Yep. That it'll look really good. If St. Joe does this for 2 weeks or whatever, if they. And then the seal coat people come in and just do just the seal coating. Edge to edge. There will be a significant savings.
I'm just, when you get the bigger cracks, you know, you're going down a road and you got cracks going like this. And so how long is it gonna take to go 40 feet in those, that all those cracks when before you had a guy going routing these cracks and sealing them? And you got a guy in the truck, and I watched when the county started doing this stuff on 35 and Hudson.
Mhm.
And it was a horrible freaking job because of the fact that it was so bumpy. And I used to go to work on 35
Mhm.
when they went up the hill off the railroad bridge. It was terrible. We did an experiment back when Teresa was on the board years and years ago. We did it. I don't know if Dan, were you on that board at that time when they did that 50-50 deal on Perch Lake Road north? Yeah, so the county did the spray patching and we did our spray patching or, seal coating.
Sure.
Our seal coating held up after we routed and sealed versus the county.
Okay.
So this is where I'm going. I'm very adamant about saving the town money by doing what we need to do. And this is not going to route these cracks,
Mhm.
right?
No,
So I would like to see their work,
sure.
whatever is done, you guys have done down there.
Yep.
We want to see a smooth road. We don't want to see this crack
Mhm.
like this.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so,
Sure.
All right.
And you're more than welcome. You guys can come down, just give me a call.
all right,
And you can come and see the end result. And I'm just so you, I used to route and seal. I did that and it's very labor intensive and it's very expensive. So
yeah. So
I know you'll see a cost
So
savings.
I just, what I've learned over the years that the way we've done it and the way it was presented
So-
when Bergman used to do it and the reason why, and we got a guarantee. We don't have a guarantee on this. So
No.
if it fails the first year, we're back doing it and then we're costing more money. So that's my point. So, okay, thanks, Pat.
We're gonna
Please.
let Pat go then.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
good.
Please,
Pat, thank you for coming in.
Well, Lee's not done yet.
So one of the things that I'm hearing tonight is there's, and rightfully so, questions about the cost of this.
Mhm.
So, one of the things that we can do is we can bring committee here and obviously share with Pat, what our, we can come up with a per mile of road crack seal cost with what we did the last couple of years.
Yep.
So we can generate that pretty easily, and then I'm sure you have all the information. Probably convert your cost. to
Yep.
Per mile cost, right?
Yep.
And then we can make that comparison. So I think that's one of the things that has been talked about, but maybe if that's something that, the committee would like.
Yep.
Us to get together so that we can talk with Pat and say, here's what it costs. And
Yeah.
he'll give us these numbers.
I actually recommend that you do that.
Sure.
That I
Yeah.
invite that. Yep.
okay,
Other committees have just scheduled a time earlier than the regular meeting. And then you go out on site and look at it and then come back, discussion at the regular meeting.
Yeah.
That would be a possibility. Maybe
That's a
Pat
great
could-
idea.
Maybe Pat say ahead of time. We can figure out North Hudson, go look at this road, this road, this road.
Mhm.
And if Pat is available and would, accommodate us, maybe answer questions, we do it as a group.
Yep.
At a time.
Yep.
Or we can address it when they
Certainly.
that would be my suggestion, then you're all together, you're all.
Mhm.
And then have a discussion. about it.
So.
Okay, thanks, Pat. We're gonna move on here.
Thank you.
So Pat, I need your last name for the minutes.
Mose, MOOS.
MOOS. Thank you.
You betcha.
Yeah, we'll put this, if we can get some figures together and look at stuff and maybe we can put it back on the agenda next month.
Sure.
And we're gonna have 2 meetings in March because we got the voting in April, so.
Mhm.
So we'll be first and last of the month, so.
Okay.
Depending on what
Thank you.
their situations, so, thank you. All
Let me-
right, thank
let me
you.
know.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, let's,
Yeah.
okay, thanks, Pat. Okay, back to the agenda here, Church Street project, Lee, you want to talk about that? Yeah, we just got, we got
So we took bids for Church Street today.
this paper here.
After a couple years
You got one?
waiting.
Nope.
This came in, I thought they came in reasonable. Compared to what I thought the potential was based on all the volatility of costs lately. So if you flip over your bid tab to the back page.
You have another one? Yeah,
Yes.
Richard needs one.
You flip over to the back page. Kind of has a summary there, and again, this is a draft. We downloaded this off the bidding site, but we always go through and we double check it. So this is, I don't anticipate any issues with this, certainly not in any great amount. But anyways, our base bid, which includes Church Street, Eagard Street, State Street North, and the Ravine, came in at $689,000. We estimated around 800 for that. State Street South came in at 150. Peterson came in at almost 69, and Rainbow came in at 52. So, one of the things that we will need to do an analysis before we can recommend an award. We're going to have to go through and double check where the town is at costs on this project. We have our numbers that we've been following with over the last couple of years on the major road project, but we need to confirm with the clerk where some of these are at. For example, the loan interest, our number for loan interest, which of course adds to the amount of money that's available, is probably not correct at this point. Probably more in there, a little bit more. There's some turnback funds that we utilized a couple years ago on the projects, and there's some left, so we need to understand how much that is and further understand if the board wants to utilize those funds on this project. But for right now, we have estimated that there's about $860,000 in the budget for construction. And when we look at the base bid plus, for example, State Street South, we're at about 840. So that's cutting it a little close as far as not having a whole lot there for contingency, but it appears as though those two parts, the town, my sense is the town will probably be able to award those for sure. And then, Peterson and Rainbow Street are just a further discussion as to whether or not there's any other funding mechanisms or opportunities that the town could utilize to do those. If in a perfect world, if I was the king, I'd try really hard to find a way to do Peterson. Rainbow could probably wait till the future. But it would be nice to get Peterson done as well, if that's at all possible. But again, that's all gonna boil down to, what the town's ultimate funds availability are.
Is our relationship with bidder one in good standings?
As far as I'm concerned, it is.
Okay,
Was there more than two bidders?
These were the only bidders.
No, I see them, but no, was there any other ones that
No.
got thrown out or?
Nope, so only two bidders.
Okay,
and so. Stan Tech was fine with the working relationship. Bidder one in our other projects.
And we had some challenges that year. I think a lot of it had to do with COVID as far as scheduling and timing, but ultimately, you know, they got done what we needed to do.
Okay,
Um,
all
They
right,
were,
that's
we
fine.
had worked with contractors that were much more difficult.
All right,
We have worked with both of them.
what?
We have worked with both contractors.
Yes, we have.
Haas
I,
and-
I just, that was a hot button topic and I wanted to clarify it here
Okay.
tonight.
All right,
want to see if there was any fires still brewing?
Not on my end, anyway.
all right.
We're pretty good.
So, all right,
So Lee, are you, did you say you would prefer doing Peterson over State Street? No, in
No.
addition
No, it would be nice to be able to do Peterson in addition.
to State Street.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to do it all, but if we could get Peterson done, you know, we could do Rainbow some other time, and to be honest, we could do Peterson and Rainbow some other time. It just all depends on, you know, there's parts of the budget that I'm not.
It looks tight, yeah,
familiar with, and
right.
there could be funds here or there, I don't know.
Okay, well, if you're doing that south part of
We'd have to
State
have a
Street,
bake sale.
if you're doing
Yeah.
that south part of Bake Street, you're coming up right to the end of Peterson Street, which isn't very long.
Right.
So that it does make a lot of sense to do that.
so there
one.
would be, Peterson would be widened out. Under. Because part of the people that live on the north side of that are in the road right away, the houses. So. There's already talked to the land property owner to the south and said that they would consider at least giving us a road right away there.
People on the south,
Yeah,
they've already given it to us.
yeah, so anyhow,
We're committed.
so any other questions on that?
So there'll be more discussion at the board meeting.
Yes,
The one comment that I will make about the funding is we do have a DNR grant for the ravine. The ravine came in less than we anticipated, so we are trying to find out from the state whether or not we're still able to use that full amount or if that's going to be reduced by some small amount.
okay,
So that's DNR, the thing that makes it an interesting question, it's a DNR grant and it's the rules, you know, is funding up to 70% of that work. The town, in order to, you know, make our grant application more desirable, we agreed at 50%. So now we're asking, well, the cost is less, so now can we still utilize the full grant and still be under that 70%?
probably end up at
Yeah.
60.
We're having that discussion.
And since we're talking finances, because we waited a year for other monies, is that money's in the math here on the bid?
I'm not sure I understand. the
I-
question.
Why did we wait a year? Wasn't there,
To get that money,
is it in the bid?
is the ravine in the bid? Does
Is-
the money that the
I'm not
grant is
asking
paid
it
for?
right.
Is the
So you
grant
got the total bid.
Yep.
yes,
Then if you deducted the DNR funds.
Yeah.
And deducted the money we waited for.
Right.
Are we financially solvent?
I believe, well. That's a good question. We'll have to see what the DNR's answer is. We'll be very close. We're very close.
there is some, because of the loan money itself,
Yeah.
there is some money for interest on that particular, because we
Yep.
waited a year.
And we'll hear about it at
Yeah.
the board
So-
meeting.
So we got that to play with too. And
But to your question, to be specific about your question, we have $860,000. That includes all of that data money. And
Oh.
these two things add up to 840.
Okay,
So you're right, we're close.
okay.
We are close regardless.
Did you say the DNR money is in the 860?
It is.
We had to fix the DNR, whether we use their money or our money. We had to fix it.
Okay.
Yes, but we did get that grant money, so that helped us out over the base of the whole thing. So. And as we work through our population increase, there are possibilities of doing Rainbow Street Town Line with $50,000. We could still tax that in our road budget and get it done, the project. So whatever comes down the line in 4 or 5 years, whatever. So see how that works out. Okay, Rolling Hills Trail, that's just on there. You got something on that?
No, I just wanted to just
Or-
maybe go back to the seal coat
Okay,
project. We did, obviously, we talked about the crack sealing first. Does the committee want to give any thought or direction on which road we're gonna do seal coating? Or are we gonna wait till March after we look at the crack sealing?
well, I think once the snow is off right now, but I would say we have a road on east side of Bass Lake, 140th Avenue at 83rd, and part of 83rd that goes south. That was done back when Dan was chair of it. And that never had seal coating on it. So that would be one of the projects. And then 80th Street. Do you have 80th Street that we crack sealed last year on here? Yeah. So
So you're looking at 83rd?
83rd, that the north,
On the east side of the lake.
Yeah. I see it.
the northern end of that what's with 140th Avenue going eastbound.
Sure.
So we did that project. Remember, we incorporated that into that project where we widened it
Yeah,
out.
140, that was my first project. when I was- or
So
that was-
that's been more than probably 10 years. since-
2014, you said,
Yeah, so that's one that should be addressed, the Valley View Trail. That was done in 2000 and it also was double seal coated because our one contractor, not naming who it was, screwed up on that whole project. And so what we have right now, on portion you got marked out here. Would make sense to me, but it would make more sense to me to look at crack sealing around cracks and whatever cracks we have for this year, and then proceed with seal coating the whole thing all the way from Valley View and County Road E to County Road I. That would,
but follow this key for the 20, or, I'm sorry. I'm
this
sorry, I'm
is-
behind.
this is
The
20
green, my bad,
the green area.
for 23.
Yeah.
So you want Valley View, the green part of Valley View in the 23 project,
Yeah,
okay? Plus 83rd Street that we just talked about.
83rd
Okay, and Valley View.
at 140th
Yep.
and 140th eastbound. To
So
the,
83rd and all of 140. To the east.
to the east, the eastbound, yeah,
East of the lake.
yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
to the town line,
Yep.
not the piece that goes down to the lake.
Yep, got it.
Oh, you don't, this not needed?
That's already reconstructed,
Okay,
so.
If you want to track Valley View all the way to the eye.
Well, What I'm kind of looking at is doing the route and steel cracks and whatever other cracks are on there. Like this year. And then next year, seal coat the whole thing. Maybe we can get more money, because it seems like every time over my whole career on this in the town of St. Joseph, when I was on the board and I've done public works, every time I could get money to do certain crack sealing, seal coat, it always that was the first one off my budget, was that crack seal and seal coat. So we always keep falling behind, and so that's where I kind of looking at. And also Scott Road would be another one that we just did. And I would like to, as long as the weather is holding right now, just go out and review all these spots that we're looking at. And also, if you go 50th to 150th on the corner, going westbound, that was reconstructed by St. Joe and Somerset last year.
So that one was on the 2022.
Yeah, but that was,
list that we didn't do.
no, we didn't do that. We
So you wanna
reconstructed,
do that
we reconstructed that with Somerset.
Last year?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can take
Right,
that
so
one
take
off.
that one. That's,
Yeah. And I'd like to look at the one by the bridge over there on 150th.
You want that one?
So I want to take a look at that, from the bridge to. Because it turns, as you cross the bridge, you go so far and there's a arrow.
Okay.
And that's the town of St. Joseph's responsibility, and the rest of 223rd is Somerset, so. I wanna take a look at some of these that you have on here and then readdress them.
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm understanding about Valley View.
Yeah,
So Valley View, you want crack sealed one way or the other. From E to I.
yeah,
Okay, and then does any of it get seal coated this year, or does it get seal coated next?
next year.
So Valley View is crack seal, or yes, crack seal only this year.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
From E to I.
yeah,
And then in March. We're gonna have a list of, this is what we want done.
Yeah.
So Kelly can put it on the plan and get them out.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's some of the pink ones that didn't get done in 22. They're not high traffic roads, so. Take a look at them, and see what the cracks are, so.
Yeah.
I wanna survey all of this stuff, and then we'll get back to you on. First meeting in March, and then.
Okay.
We can go from there and throw some figures out and get that. Instituted too, so,
All right.
all right, so let's move on then to. Our. Rolling Hill Trail, partner's supposed to be redoing all that. Cracks, seal coat and crack sealing. Or they just, no, they're just doing, seal coat and
Restrict.
striping, yeah, okay,
That'll happen this summer.
Yeah.
Fix that.
okay. So. All right, we're through that one, and that one.
Even if we don't take any action on that, I would just like to keep it on the minutes or on the agenda so it doesn't get forgotten about.
Okay, other road projects, we already discussed, the Church Street project, and I don't see nothing in other road projects, basically, we have what we have out there, just running some roads this past week, in some of these areas that are on the map right here, I see very little cracking in them, and being the frost was very shallow, now it's gone down, it's coming back out. So we'll have to address that when we get to it, so.
I think we got a high moisture content in the ground and I think there's some extremes on some cracks and we'll see what spring brings.
Yeah, right now,
Just for guy education, I've been digging all winter and the moisture in the ground is not even 2 feet down, correct, Mark?
yeah,
Very correct.
Just surface, huh?
Just
Yeah.
I know there's no frost out in the yard.
It's chicken scratch and digging, ear hammering all the way past that. I was
2
amazed.
feet, huh? Well, that makes sense.
It's hard digging. There ain't no frost.
so it just, to throw something out there for, my granddaughter's boyfriend, he's working for a state, for this company that does, stuff on the highways up and if you're familiar with the crisscross lanes up there towards St. Cloud. And what they're doing now is monitoring the soil, drilling tap spots on the highway to see how it's kind of an experimental type thing. It's been done for years. So anyhow, he said that a frost was, and that's farther west and a little farther north, so that their frost was down to 6-8 inches, and now it's starting to recede again because of the warmer weather, so. And I don't know how much snow they've had in that area neither, that's. So
I'm surprised at the amount of ditch digging I've seen this winter too, just lately.
There is no frost. You can go out in anybody's middle of the yard if you're not tracking on it.
oh, yeah,
It's crazy.
and the snow is going down right now, I mean, it's just.
Yep.
Which is good, so the
Yep.
moisture will go in the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, any other road issues? I've been out and I'll just jump over to signage because I don't see no road issues. I've seen some signs that got pushed because of the snow being pushed out. Yep. The wings and stuff like that. I pretty much assessed all our signage out there for reflectivity. I see a few out there, but we'll pick that up on our spring review and make a list of that. I have a list going on replacing street signs with reflectivity, and this would be the last round of that. So it'll be a minimal cost, so whatever we have in the budget, we can always swing that to something else. We'll have to address that on the way down. So, being that we've had some issues with mailboxes, this year again, not too many, but, it was brought to my attention, I think Chris, agrees with me on this, especially in new developments, to put cluster boxes. And if you go over to Bayport, across from St. Croix Preparatory School in that area, my son lives over there. They have mailboxes when you first enter their street, and when you get to the other end of it, because it moons, moon shape. There's mailboxes on that. They're distributed out, so there's no mailboxes on that street per house. The mailman doesn't go to that. They just pull it up to that box and puts the mail in. So that's one thing we should put into our ordinance.
Who brought this item to the committee?
Who brought that?
I did.
Okay,
Chris did.
all right.
And Todd, Chris and
I've,
And Tuma
and myself.
and Bob. Okay, so now let me finish. St. Joe Township has got 3-acre minimum lots, correct?
Correct.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Okay.
And this is just focused on cul-de-sacs in developments,
As it's written here,
correct?
but it's 3 acre minimum lots. And you would suggest for a senior person or whoever to leave their property to walk to their mailbox when they're elderly.
Well, so this is a great discussion. So I'm picturing in a 66-foot cul-de-sac only that over in that corner is 4 boxes, 5 boxes, 6 boxes, because a cul-de-sac is usually designed in a pie shape, 3 acres. And I looked at the efficiency of that being over there, being able to swing around, clear stuff, move stuff, no issues. It's new. It isn't, we're gonna retroactive all the cul-de-sacs. It's new.
But you would take away from a new property owner building to go over there to get his mail.
Well, so
And you would,
that's a great discussion.
you would
What is-
inconvenience the homeowner,
All right,
but you would convenience the snowplower. No,
That's a great discussion.
Correct.
but,
is this world turned around or what?
well. here-
Well, first, I'd like to say that the comparison on the Bayport development across from the preps, well, that's super high density housing. So that's not a good example to use. And I mean, I don't have, I guess, one opinion one way or the other. I know that I live on a cul-de-sac and I can see that it's a little messy and challenging for a snowplow operator. And you've got Tuma back there, and then you've got the private contractors that come in and take care of the the residents' driveways. And then we just all try to make sure that the mailboxes are clear so the mailman can deliver the mail. So we've got the snowplow driver, we've got the resident, and we've got the mail delivery. So who are we trying to please?
Well,
The
there's one,
absolute
actually,
landowner. The landowner's got control of his property.
there's one more. There's the summer ditch mowing. And having plowed cul-de-sacs. You get 5 driveways in a cul-de-sac and assorted mailboxes spread around. It's really tough to find a place to put that snow, much less every time you back up, trying to figure out where the mailbox is gonna jump out behind you.
I don't disagree, but
So why do you think that you're inconveniencing people? Because that whole cluster down there across from St. Croix Preparatory School is high density. So there are young people there, there are older people. They pull up their car, they get out, they get their mail, or they drive up and get their mail. So just like if you had to go to, I have to walk to my mailbox, to get my mail.
but that is on your property, correct?
No, it's in the town road right away. It's not on my property.
New Richland.
Is it in your property line? Is it within your property lines?
I share a mailbox area with 300 people that lives down the road from me. So we all get our mail at Valley View Trail and Homestead Trail. There's no inconveniences for us to get that mail, and some of us are in the elderly.
Yep, I'm thinking of the landowner, that is his sanctuary. And his mailbox should be on his property.
I've lived on a private road for 22 years. There share that road with about 12 other people. Mailman does not come down our road. All our boxes are at the end of the road. For some people, that's 3/4 of a mile to go get their mail. For me, it's 500 feet because I live on the end of the road. 99 times out of 100, people are coming home from work, grabbing their mail, going home. Or in the morning, stopping at the mailbox, throwing something in there and going to work.
2 years?
I don't see that part of it as a big issue. I don't have strong feelings one way or the other on this, but inconvenience, I don't think is an issue.
No,
A couple of years ago, New Richmond completely redid the street on Paper Jack Drive. And everything along there, it was put in the clustered mailboxes. And it's the single pedestal for, I don't know, a dozen mailboxes there. And I have heard that the post office has been trying to force new construction to do this for a number of years.
Are you saying that's from 65 over to 140th on Paper Jack?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
at least everything in the city. When you get down to the church, all of a sudden, that's not in the city anymore. That's town,
Before you cross
So
the
that
bridge.
changes, yeah,
Okay.
before you cross that bridge. It's, that requirement may come at some point. I did have some thoughts on it and I will walk around and show this, but I think that in order to do that, we should have a spot, pick out a standard spot where this would be on cul-de-sacs, probably to the right of the entrance of the cul-de-sac. But truthfully, a little bit before the cul-de-sac, so because the outer ring of cul-de-sacs is difficult to plow. We should have a 3 to 4 foot paved shoulder there, so people can pull over. I know there's a bit of a cost there.
Yep.
And also for those cul-de-sacs that have an island in the middle, give people the option of putting their mailboxes in the cluster mailboxes in the middle.
So I'm ignorant coming because I don't plow snow, so I understand you got driveways to deal with and we got mailboxes to deal with, but generally isn't the mailbox right next to the driveway? And if that's the case, what are you actually saving? You got to plow around the driveway anyway.
Because usually for plowing, you can plow across the entrance to the driveway. Because, so that you don't leave a large pile of snow across the driveway.
So are the mailboxes
The
in the
mailboxes-
way then
The
for
mailboxes
doing that?
are in the way of trying to clear the end of the driveway. Otherwise, every time the plow goes through, it leaves a large snowbank. Right now, when I was working for Todd, we're using pickup truck to do a lot of the fine work in the cul-de-sacs. So we can go through and kind of keep from making a mess of the driveways. But if the mailbox is on one side of the driveway, it gets much more difficult. You could swing a wing plow out pretty wide if you didn't have mailboxes all the way around. Fire numbers would have to be further back. 10, 12,
So
15
they'd
feet.
be in the way too.
Yeah, fire numbers would have to be on the opposite side of the ditch. In order to make that work.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
Lori,
Let's,
Bob,
yes,
sorry.
So. Dial it back a little different direction. Let's take.
Excuse me? Lori, can you go to the microphone, please? I can't hear you. Thank you.
So there's maybe a little different angle to take a look at here. Let's take right of way maintenance off the table. This. Just for.
Then there is no discussion then. Your mailbox is it? There-
If you just wait a minute,
Okay,
thank you.
no,
Lori's got, Lori,
So
will
just gonna-
you refrain from interrupting when somebody else is speaking, please?
absolutely,
Or I will remove you.
Point
from
of
this
order.
meeting.
absolutely.
Point of order. One of the places where this conversation would fit in from a town standpoint would be very comfortable in along with the subdivision ordinance that we already have in place. That when you go in and you're splitting out these parcels, you have the conversation of where mailboxes could be for the entire subdivision and don't just go down to the cul-de-sacs. And as you lay out that subdivision, you make a plot, a place where the mailboxes are going to be, and as humans, when you come into a new subdivision and you move into your home, you're developing a new habit anyway, and your new habit is gonna be, oh, there's my mailbox, and you will adjust to it. And there's very convenient ways that mailboxes can be laid out so that you can pull into them, so there is no safety issue that comes into play. And then there isn't anything to talk about for the maintenance part of it. So I can see why it would come up in this group, and it makes perfect sense. Now, here's one that I'll throw out, and this, Richard, maybe would be more in your wheelhouse. Let's say we do a major rate road reconstruction. Now, having been through this, when we had ours reconstructed, all our mailboxes went away and they were in one big cluster. And we all had to change how we were gonna get our mail, and we all figured it out. And the only complaint about having the mailboxes moved was when it kept come time to put our mailboxes back at the end of all of our driveways. Conversation at that time was, I wonder what we could do so we could have our mailboxes just in one spot. So there's a couple of different ways that you can take that. Should we go through the whole town and map it out and say, hey, you guys are gonna, this is how it's gonna happen? No, that doesn't make any sense. But new developments are putting in mailbox posts and or they're designating where they're going to go. And some of them have all matched mailboxes anyway, depending on the caliber of the neighborhood you're going into. So I think it's a conversation worth having for future. And I would throw in, take a look at, do you want to have a conversation when you do reconstruct at the same time? All I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Okay, let's move on to Huron Lane. Discontinuance, it's at the board level right now, so until it's surveyed out, there's no action by this committee because it's not going to affect anything that we do on that road, other than for our maintenance to find out where exactly the boundary lines are for the two neighbors. So, Mark, still leave that on the agenda, please. And so we'll move on to winter snow plowing status. The boys are doing a great job out there plowing, and we have a lot of people out there whining to the office here. Why aren't they winning the roads or whatever, you know, as they're trying to open up the roads. People are they need a good education on what's going on. I'll tell you what, the town of St. Joseph roads are amazing, like 94 and 65 or whatever. Go over to St. Paul and drive those streets over there. My wife and I had to go to you, and I went to an area that I used to, with the relatives used to live in. I went down the street, cars on the side of the street, tipped like this, and two tracks down the middle. And they were supposed to move their cars off of that area, the residential street, to after the snow emergency route was done. But people are too stupid to do that. So nobody should be bitching about anything in town of St. Joseph. So, and winter tree trimming, the only thing that we've had out there was a few in that heavy snow where trees went down and the branches are obstructing just on the shoulders. We had Todd go out there and clean them up, and this spring we'll go out and clean up the rest of them. Work orders, we've had very few work orders. They're all complete. Tractor and equipment maintenance. Chris, that's going up in the spring here.
That's been shipped up there. It's been fully
Okay.
serviced, and it's returned.
Okay.
Done.
That-
question on that special fluid that we use.
DEF fluid?
Yeah, is that still, out for us, or is that kind of self?
No, society is caught up with it. We're okay.
Yeah. So let's move on to maintenance issues not addressed above. Anybody got any? I have none, so I think we're moving on. Hearing none, review of bills and expenditures. I've gone over them and they look good to me. I don't know if anybody else has got any questions on it. Basically, we go through, the board does, and our committee can go through whatever they see. If they see an issue, then bring it back to this committee, and then we can address it back to the board or the finance committee, because I sit on the finance committee and we go through all this stuff. We have a book this thick of stuff goes out monthly and yearly, so we have a meeting every 3 months. So, okay, and so the 2022 budget expenses are on that also, so you can see how much we spent for snow plowing last year, and I shimmer and shake to see what the January snow plowing bills for this year is going to be, but being that we got milder weather, maybe we'll be okay. So, Richard, do you have something under public comment? You can comment on it. We
Nope,
cannot
I have
discuss
items
it.
for the next Public Works Committee agenda. 2 items to put out there. I'll wait.
Oh, okay, so no public comment then?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, I have something for public comment though. I have a humorous story about snow plowing. Okay. As most of you know, we have 2 grandchildren that we get on the bus every day. And if it snows out, sometimes we get a text message or a voicemail saying that we have to bring our children to the inclement weather stop, which is up on around the corner at 60th, because Perch Lake Road has lots of hills and they go up and down and never whatever. So we get the kids, we go up our driveway, go out on Perch Lake Road, go up to 60th Street, 128th or so, and wait for the bus to come. We get the kids on the bus, and the bus goes up, turns left on Perch Lake Road and heads back out to County Road. And goes right by our house. Bus driver said, "We have the best roads in the entire school district."
Have you noticed, Dan,
How do you comment that, Bob?
when they stop at 60th and Perch Lake Road, the bus stops diagonally in that intersection? Because they've had so many people, I don't know on that road, but they've had so many people going around buses this year that the school buses are stopping in the middle of the road, leaving no place for any cars to go past them. Or in this case, they're diagonal in an intersection.
Yeah, they're protecting the kids, and
Oh,
I
yes.
think it's a great idea. I see that too.
Oh, yeah. And it's just amazing what they have to do.
Yes.
Well, look at that one bus driver in the cities. The kid gets off the bus, he didn't pay any attention to where the kid was, and he runs over the kid. And he keeps on driving.
Yeah,
I'm going, duh,
that's.
you better not
Sad
have a
deal.
job.
Then you gotta live with yourself.
Yeah,
Oof.
well, he didn't kill him, but
But still,
besides, I'll tell you this story that happened back when I was in high school. Stopped the bus to let this girl off. And we didn't have back in those days, we had the old rickety buses with just the stop arm out and flashing lights. And the neighbor girl, who was he was married to John Nassett, and she barreled down the road with her family in the car from school, all the kids. And she passes the school bus. The school bus driver hollers, "Stop." And Sue O'Hare stopped before she stepped in front of that car. Otherwise, she'd be dead today. That's how close I've seen crap going on out there. So anyhow. All right, moving on, items for next Public Works agenda.
I have two items that I would like to get brought up.
Keep it slow so I can look it down.
Nope, they're not very long. I would like this committee to talk about fog lines on the town roads. Just the fog lines, 6 to 8 inches in, just the fog lines. I have people asking me about that. I think we should talk about it. Second item is, how do I go about going from alternate 2 to alternate 1?
Yeah, it would be up to the board.
Okay, can it be, can it go on to the board?
I'll have to talk to the chair on that.
Cool. That's the 2 items I had.
Okay, so. Date of next meeting will be on March, whatever it be.
You said there's 2 meetings in March.
Yeah, well, it's at well, the first meeting will be on the 7th. And the second one, we'll have to make it. Lee, can you do the 28th of March too?
Oh, that's.
Yeah, because the
Well. Certainly one of us. can.
okay. So,
I don't know, the 28th, but so far.
yeah, okay, so we'll
Oh, it's not. It would be work.
yeah, okay, so. All right,
If anything.
yeah. So anyhow, Mark, you want to put those 2 dates down for March then, please? So we can get them on the calendar and
28th,
7th and the 28th.
7th and the 28th.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, anybody got anything else? Move on, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
At 7:16. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. Yeah, okay. Moving on, I got a date I gotta be at.